Hi everyone, welcome back to Eat This, Drink That, Go. We are so thrilled to have a gentleman with us just visiting from Italy. He's a rock star in the wine world. His name is Roberto Pagan. Thank you so much for coming.
Very nice to meet you.
And
Thank
the
you
name
for
of the
inviting me.
company is Pagan Wines.
Pagan Wines.
And that you and your brother started. Is that correct?
No, that were my father and his two brothers.
Your
first
father and two
generation,
brothers.
Yeah, in the early 60s, 1963. Yeah.
And it's in the Friuli.
In Friuli, Venezia Giulia,
right.
yes. We produce wines in Friuli, Venezia Giulia, which is the region located in the northeast of the boot of Italy,
Okay.
along the Austrian-Slovenian border, and the south with the Adriatic Sea. So it's a very, very lucky location between the Alps and the Adriatic
Now,
Sea.
is it primarily white wines that are produced there?
Absolutely. Friuli is just the 3% of the Italian production of wine, so it's not really the big production area. Is the
quality,
concentrated quality production area. And being in this great location between the Alps and the Adriatic, as I told you, is considered among the most suitable area for the production of white wines in our country.
And you own all of your grapes.
Absolutely.
You're not outsourcing any.
We produce every single. So let me tell you, every single drop of our wine comes from our own grape production. We own two different estates in the two most important DOC areas of the Friuli area, of the Friuli region.
And DOC means this is how they rate the wines
yes,
in
it's
Italy.
the appellation of quality
Right.
of our wines,
Right.
of course, are all DOC wines. So the main estate is located in the Grave del Friuli, which is the biggest DOC area of Friuli along the Alps, and is formed by stony, gravelly soil.
Stony and gravelly.
Stony,
Now, is
gravelly
it cold there?
It's because there were the glaciers a million years ago along the Alps that melting, were forming these big rivers. So the north part of the Friuli has been like a big river because the water was rolling down these dolomites that became like rocks and forming this very poor soil, very mineral, because of the stones. And as you know, the vine, to give its best, need to be poor. To find out,
to find
yes, exactly. So
to look for the minerals. The
mineral,
roots just dig deeper that way, right?
Let me only just tell one more thing to you,
Yes.
to let you know how suitable is this territory. In Friuli, we have the biggest nursery of vines of the world. So in Friuli Grave, in this production area, there is also two nurseries that together make over 80 million vines just to export it in every corner of the world, just to let you know how suitable is this area, you know.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to tell you, years ago, Jimmy and I had a wine store.
Yes.
And it was right when the big boom of Pinot Grigio hit.
Yes.
And so many of them we thought were very watery.
Yeah.
But we found your Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
And that was the one that we always recommended to our customers.
I appreciate it, and I thank you. The reason, I think there are also a lot of nice Pinot Grigio.
Yes, I know.
There are not the flat, inexpensive or flat ones, but
right.
In our case, the factors that allow us to get the quality is first, the environment and the terroir we have, which is really considered, not from me, from the experts, among the most suitable. And then the microclimate, very ventilated because we are along the sea. So it keeps humidity very low and is really ideal for the grape production. Averagely low productions, and this golden land, I say, this soil that allow us to get so much fruitness, crispness, balanced acidity in our wines that make it very, very drinkable and with a lot of personality. That is very important. I can tell you also that if Pinot Grigio became very, very popular in the world, I can say, is for absolutely, firstly, for his great versatility in the food combinations. So as you at the shop and you know that somebody went buy a wine and they want, they don't know sometimes what to buy
what to pair with what,
what
right?
to pair with what. When you take a Pinot Grigio, 8 people on 10, I say, can drink it because you can match it with seafood, white meat, vegetables.
Which is perfect for South Florida. I mean,
oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
perfect wine for South
Absolutely.
Florida. So we're going to taste 3 different wines.
Different wine. So,
And the first one we're going to taste is your Pinot Grigio from Grave. It's a
Grave.
2017.
exactly.
And tell me about this particular vintage.
So this vintage has been a very optimal vintage
Right.
in terms of climate. The only problem is that we had sometimes a little bit frost
Okay.
that cut down the production of in an area of the winery.
Now, is
cut down
that
the
not
production.
normal, a frost?
Can happen. We not so. It's not so easy, but if happens,
Yeah.
It's like a pre-harvest, So it is something that doesn't give any problems in terms of quality, but cut down in such an area, not in one area of our estates, cut down 20% the production, 30% the production. But in terms of quality, I think is ideal like the 18, the vintage coming.
Right. And when is your harvest season?
The harvest season is for Grave del Friuli around this in 2017 we harvested the 22nd of August. So a pretty early harvest, Okay. Yeah. So this wine, as I told you, is very typical. And if you smell what comes first in your nose and also in the palate, is this slightly green banana scents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
With this.
And you do smell the mineral.
The mineral, the rock, yes.
Yeah.
You feel this minerality, which is a classic.
And what kind of barrels do you use?
We don't use any barrel. Every single bottle of our wine is only fermented in stainless steel. Of course. So we make. We want to keep all the personality that the grape gives us. So we believe to have our wineries in an area of Italy where the personality of the white wines is very special, is high. So in our philosophy, we decided in the really past to make only stainless steel fermentations without malolactic fermentation also.
I mean, this is
to keep all the freshness.
Okay. This is a great everyday drinking wine. But you're right, this would be excellent with shellfish.
Shrimps, shellfish,
Yeah.
carpaccio, tuna carpaccio.
Exactly.
Oh, when you
An
match
octopus
it with
carpaccio.
some, if you make it, I love cooking, so I could speak with you so long about the match we could do with
You have to
wine.
come back and eat with us on the show.
Will be a pleasure, absolutely.
Okay, so what are we tasting next?
This, may I tell you that this wine,
Yes.
The wines of us are imported by Cobra and
Yes.
distributed here in southeast Florida from National Republic.
Yeah, this is a $17 retail wine.
And it's $17.
And that you can find in your restaurants and in stores around, but a great value wine.
Absolutely. I think
we love Mara with co-brand.
Thank you.
Ural's portfolio is extraordinary.
So the second wine is the Sauvignon Blanc from Grave, always.
And
From Grave del Friuli.
What am I smelling on the nose there? That is beautiful. It's a beautiful nose.
Our Sauvignon is not so overpowered. So we don't do this overpowered Sauvignon. The Sauvignons from Friuli are a little bit smoother, elegant, and you feel basically these tomato leaf scents. You know, may I say scents? I'm sorry, scents. Yes, and then a little bit of sage. And white peach.
Sage
you know,
and peach is what you get.
This is what you get, and mineral, of course, like all our wines.
This is excellent Sauvignon Blanc. See, I tasted your Pinot Grigios, but not your Sauvignon Blancs.
It's a perfect wine if matched, in my opinion, with something like fettuccine with smoked salmon, chives, and green asparagus, for example. The asparagus and the slightly sweetness of the smoked salmon match fantastically well with these green ounces of this wine. So it's a very clean wine. It's not the wine that fill too much your sense, because it's very, very smoothie and very, very pleasant in terms of aromas. It's not too...
Right, no, it's not overwhelming.
I love all Sauvignons, and there are very, very expressive Sauvignons, but sometimes I think the Sauvignons are so expressive that are a little bit difficult to be matched with food. Because
with food, exactly.
It's like when you eat a Sibas and you put up a strong olive oil, so you don't feel anymore the flavor of the Sibas.
It's like almost the fruit overpowers.
This is very food matchable, I think. I'm especially food matchable because it's...
and to just drink alone. Again, this is a $17 Sauvignon Blanc, which is wonderful. Okay, we got 2 minutes. We've got one more wine to taste.
The third wine...
You got to go get this one, yes.
...comes from our estate, located always in Friuli, along the Slovenian border,
okay.
called Collio Goriziano. The Collio Goriziano is really a boutique for the white wines, a very teeny production area. Also, the production of this one is very
And
low.
how many bottles do you produce of this?
Of this wine, we produce, the Pinot Grigio is for us in the Collio the 40% of the production, and are around 35,000, 40,000 bottles.
Wow, so it's going to be a little harder.
That's all for
a little
everyone
harder
in the world,
to find.
You know?
Yeah.
A little harder to find, but is a wine that has been this territory hilly, with a stratificated soil made mainly of calcareous stratificated sediments, because this area has been under the Adriatic Sea million years ago. So there's a sedimentation underwater, a very poor soil, rich of calcium carbonate, which is very basic for the development of the aromas under the skin of the berries. And the production is very low because it's a very dry and ventilated area. And the result is this very mineral concentrated Pinot Grigio.
If you love Pinot
like
Grigio,
we can say.
You want to try this. This is about $25 retail.
Yeah.
But again, you can find it here in South Florida. If not, email me and I'll find it for you. Tell me about, World War II destroyed that whole area, didn't it, primarily, in building the history of your vineyards?
Excuse me, can you repeat?
Right. No, during World War II.
World War, yes. Of course.
That whole area, right?
Was Friuli is an area that historically has been under pressure from a lot of time, from the Roman time to the Uni and Longobards, and then the Austro-Hungaric Imperium, and then the Second World War. So it's always been under pressure. But all the bad things comes not there is always another side of the medal. Right. Because these things, like all the northeast of Italy, people help the people to be strong, fighters, people that don't speak too much, but live in a very dynamic way. So we were able to, of course, like everybody after the war.
Well, I look forward to visiting your vineyard soon.
I really hope to welcome you one day there, because there are not words to describe enough what you will see when you will visit us.
Oh, wonderful. Roberto Piggin, please check out the Piggin wines. They're wonderful, $17 retail. Got to check them out. We'll be back right after this on Eat This, Drink That, Go.